Do you deal with bloating, food allergies, skin rashes, acne, diarrhea, hemorrhoids, anxiety, depression, or brain fog? If so, you might be one of 3 Americans that has candidiasis, also known as Candida. Guess what this pathogenic, opportunistic yeast overgrowth feeds off of? Yep, sugar. Sugar's the fucking devil. Hi, I'm Julie Cielo, mortician, medium, yoga therapist, life coach, and founder of Femme Fatale, the creator of the world's first probiotic mocktail. Yes, I used to ferment people, but now I ferment probiotic mocktails. The cool thing about death is it's not real. Energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Femme Fatale was inspired by a moment in 2001 when I was sick with a mystery disease that left me bedridden for months. I was unable to eat or drink anything, especially not alcohol. I'd be buckled over in pain with severe bloating and cramps every time I ate just about anything. I attended a concert during that time period that made me see how if you didn't drink, you weren't part of the party. Feeling left out sucked, and as did the health challenges I was dealing with at the time. Because this modern epidemic is still not recognized by Western medicine, many suffer alone like I did, feeling left out socially and unheard by doctors. I was told it was all in my head. Actually, it ended up being in my head because your second brain is in your gut. After having my stool analyzed, candidiasis and several other bad bacteria were present, wreaking havoc in my body. But why? For years, I thought I had stripped all the beneficial bacteria from my gut doing too many colonics in an attempt to heal childhood emotional trauma by cleaning my physical body. All these years later, I realized that my health collapse was likely triggered by Epstein-Barr virus, not sugar addiction. However, sugar played a big part in managing my chronic health challenge. I don't call it illness because I don't identify with that. However, once you have Candida, it can be a bitch to get rid of, especially if you struggle with alcohol abuse, or in my case, the consumption of any alcohol at all. Abuse is a loose word. Do you consider a few glasses of wine a week abuse? Well, truth is, if your body can't handle it, then it is abuse to the body, even if society deems it socially acceptable. Hence why individualized holistic health is so essential in recovery. Research shows that the intestines of people with chronic alcohol abuse has a large increase of Candida, but just eliminating alcohol doesn't make this pathogenic, opportunistic yeast go away. You have to kill it and then repopulate the gut with good bacteria and change the behaviors that played a part in the dance to begin with. We're more than just flesh, we're energy. So we must change our vibration to no longer be a match for the frequency of Candida, this opportunistic, boundary-crossing energy, and reclaim our power. So there's 2 types of cravings trying to take your power away. The first is psychological. The brain is telling you, I need this. And the second is purely physical, an actual physical urge, a desperate need to get some alcohol, or more specifically, sugar in the form of alcohol, into your body. Have you cut out alcohol to be left with a severe sugar addiction? If so, hello, Candida. So, Candida disrupts critical neurotransmitters in the brain like dopamine and serotonin at the root of alcohol addiction and can create or perpetuate the cycle of addiction. So to overcome alcohol abuse or addiction to alcohol, Candida overgrowth must be addressed. To overcome Candida, one must give up alcohol. So it turns out that us humans aren't alone, even if we think that we're the loneliest social outcasts out there. We're each individually hosting an entire fucking colony of bacteria, parasites, fungi, and viruses, both inside and out. We're actually more bacteria cells than we are human cells. We're basically walking, talking petri dishes, and these organisms are screaming when we have cravings. So it's not in your head, it's in your gut. Candida is generally a friendly organism unless it gets out of control. Then it grows little branches and pierces our gut wall, leading to a condition called leaky gut. When you have Candida overgrowth, guess what you crave? Sugar and alcohol. Now, guess what causes Candida overgrowth? Yep, sugar and alcohol. I know this sucks, but it's an opportunity to see how strong you are. Resolving this boundary-crossing overgrowth can actually set you free and off the addiction hamster wheel forever. Not to mention the plethora of other symptoms that Candida brings, including leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut can be linked to all kinds of serious health problems, including cancer. Basically, the gut wall has been pierced and now is permeable. Bits of stuff like food inside of us can now pass into our bloodstream, making us really sick. Leaky gut and Candida overgrowth actually go hand in hand, along with alcohol abuse. Removing alcohol is not the only way to get rid of Candida and leaky gut. We must address not just the cravings, but also transform the inner environment of our microbiota by killing off bad yeast and other parasitic organisms and create mineral-rich, slightly alkaline blood, and then recolonize friendly bacteria, thus establishing our immune system. We must change the inner environment for good bacteria to prosper and then stop hosting unwelcome company. Eliminating sugar is essential, but when Candida dies, it releases 79 toxins into your system, making you feel sick and worse than if you were drinking. One of the toxins, ironically, is ethanol, which is why there's a high rate of relapse in the first 30 days of not drinking or eating sugar, grains, and yeast. Once you make it past the 30 days, you shouldn't have the cravings unless you have Candida. But here's what I discovered. Once you eliminate Candida overgrowth, then you no longer crave alcohol. If you drink again, you'll feed the Candida. Maybe not at first, but at some point, if you go back to consuming grains, sugar, and yeast, you'll eventually drink like an addict again. Because Candida takes over and causes these intense sugar and alcohol cravings, which explain the relapse, but not just with alcohol. From my experience, just a few drinks and boom, the Candida is back. I wasn't even much of a drinker back then, nor did I eat a lot of sugar, but I ended up with an autoimmune disease in chronic Candida, likely due to undiagnosed Epstein-Barr virus from childhood mononucleosis. More importantly, as I continue to peel back the layers of my own healing, it's the healing of unresolved trauma in addressing my nervous system and the coping mechanisms that I once used to try to regulate it subconsciously. The feeling of social isolation peeled off the childhood wound of always feeling like the black sheep. Being a child of an alcoholic who abandoned me at birth and then marrying a man that became one wasn't something I could meditate away. The need for inner healing continued from my personal evolution as it unfolded. Flash forward 20 years, hello Femme Fatale and the Sober Curious movement. My journey with Candida influenced the creation of this gut-healthy alternative to sugar-laden beverages as an answer to social connection, while my journey with self-love is what's helped me to set boundaries and reclaim my inner power and find chosen supportive family and community. Drinking dirty is a way to improve gut, skin, and immune health by putting live soldiers for peace into your body to fight the good fight against countless pathogens trying to invade your body and wreak havoc on your health. This starts with cutting out sugar. It's true, during the process of fermentation, bacteria and yeast feed off of sugar, but it's important to know that the sugar is for food for the organisms, not for us. Research shows that wildly fermented foods and beverages under an alcohol by volume of 4% does not kill good gut bacteria. It has a multitude of health benefits. But we must address the real devil here, sugar. Sugar feeds ethanol levels. Candida yeast ferments sugar to generate energy in order to survive. So the fermenting process itself creates a variety of toxins in the body, alcohol being one of the primary. Candida can actually release so much alcohol in the body that the person can look and feel drunk even if they haven't ingested any alcohol. So Candida is what keeps one on the hamster wheel of addiction. Candida causes mental illness, insomnia, hormone imbalance, low blood sugar, reoccurring bladder infections, ringing in the ears, and sometimes can be triggered by the use of antibiotics, but is always associated with the consumption of the gateway drug sugar, leading us back to alcohol, perpetuating the cycle of shame. So our company's slogan, Live Clean, Drink Dirty, represents key principles of gut health, as we offer, while we're addressing also the mental and emotional components of optimal health. Releasing shame is a big part of all this. I call this living clean. The question to ask is, if we know that alcohol causes inflammation and Candida, leading to gut health issues, why the hell would we do it? How can we live clean of shame, blame, and self-loathing? Well, first we must shine the light of awareness on what's not working before we can decide on a vision for ourselves and then take action on it. So for me personally, I moved across the country after a divorce, and I surviving an attempted murder in 2012. And then I lost my entire life savings trying to launch this company back in 2015. And then that was followed by an estrangement of my family because of my unwillingness to continue enabling my mother's bad behavior due to mental illness. The worst loss, though, was the loss of Monsieur Louis Laurent, my French bulldog who died of a rare blood cancer the same month that we officially launched Femme Fatale. These are just some of the challenges that have put my coping skills to the test, but I'm sure you have your own. Being alone and single for the first time in LA these past 10 years, not to mention raising nearly $1 million so far to make this company happen, have given me the perfect environment for personal growth. And I will admit, I've wanted to escape my reality many times and have leaned into alcohol in order to ease the pain of grief and loneliness. Chronic Candida and its symptoms have come back every time I've given my power away, searching for relief in all the wrong places. Just like excavating Candida, I needed to kill the thoughts that led me to choose poor coping mechanisms and ask for help. I needed to choose new thoughts that supported new habits and the vision that I had for my life. Those thoughts are energy, and they carry a vibration. So I needed to change my frequency to the healing channel. And you can do the same. We can do it together. I discovered that my personal power comes from self-love and discipline, i.e. boundaries. Not only did I need to let go of the bad habits, but I also needed to release the beliefs, behaviors, and patterns that were supporting them. I needed to reboot my nervous system with therapy, supplements, and even low-dose medication while practicing new, healthier coping skills. I needed to deal with my unresolved trauma. You can't just take away the substance. You got to replace it with something that supports your vision and then get to the root cause of the nervous system deregulation. Life is meant to be celebrated, but if we've always identified with alcohol as being the means to do so, therein lies the need for alcohol alternatives. It might also be time for friend alternatives and boundary setting in general. This includes family. I followed my gut and fought to heal and lead this movement. I'm part of the collective, as are you. We need each other to thrive. You see, as we get clear and let go of what's not in alignment, we find it easier to attract the right people, circumstances, and opportunities that support our highest vision. Life truly is happening through us, not to us. And as we focus on what we have rather than what's missing, the world becomes abundant because it always was. We just got to focus on what we're grateful for. Where our attention goes, energy flows. When the nervous system is fried due to trauma, we become inflamed throughout the body, and oftentimes we reach for things like sugar, alcohol, sex, social media, etc., in an attempt to regulate ourselves subconsciously. Getting rid of Candida is a huge component to healing the big picture of addiction, as is proper boundary setting, which comes from self-love. If you have unresolved trauma, it can be hard to love yourself whenever you're choosing things that you know intellectually aren't good for you, but you're just trying to cope. So we keep playing the shame game. Hamster wheel, aka the cycle of craving and aversion, continues. The key to recovery is choosing new coping skills to replace the old ones that led us to self-love. Self-love is not only how we perceive ourselves, but also the behaviors that we exhibit that reflect those beliefs. We must practice self-discipline, set boundaries for ourselves and others, and change the faded coping skills. And then we can trust and love ourselves, releasing shame that keeps us stuck and small so we can attract the life that we would love living. It's not enough for us to intellectually believe that we're worthy. Boundaries help us believe our worth. We can't just stop eating sugar and stop drinking. We need to change the behaviors that have kept us stuck in order to find freedom. Self-discipline is about boundaries. Boundaries offer us freedom by creating the balance that gives life's grace. Sometimes we harm ourselves and need to forgive and do different. Sometimes it's others that harm us. Hurt people, healed people, heal people. So saying no often means saying yes to ourselves. But remember, the only people that are going to have problems with your boundaries are the ones that are trying to cross them. We outgrow people as we up-level. Be okay with letting people go. How we feel about the person that's harmed us and how we feel about ourselves is our work, no one else's. Self-love and self-discipline build inner trust so we can show up fully in authentic connection and community. Our imperfections are what make us unique. Other people's perception of us is a reflection of them. It's when we think that we are other people's opinions and those opinions define our worth that we give our power away. Self-love doesn't happen whenever things are perfect and everyone likes us. You gotta claim that shit. We must value progress over perfection, accept our challenges as opportunity, realize diversity is essential to our survival. One strain of anything is limiting. We are stronger as one. The key to lifting ourselves out of chronic illness, such as autoimmune and addiction, comes from first releasing the victim identity and fully embracing ourselves as the hero of our stories. Recovery really is about the recovering of ourselves that has been there all along, but we're covered up by negative core beliefs, likely created by unresolved trauma. I want to share with you, I had a realization on my last 10-day silent retreat. I realized that in order to find happiness, we must completely release the stories that we've told ourselves and choose different thoughts that reflect a new paradigm that we're trying to create in this whole new world of possibility. This is not a Pollyanna, all is peachy, sugar-coated method of spiritual bypassing. No, this is about not giving your power away any longer and not apologizing for who you are. We need to let go and forgive ourselves completely. And then whenever these memories arise, we immediately replace it with a thought of what we're creating in the now, what we're grateful for, breaking the habit of neuropathway. We live in an inside-out universe, so we got to change our inner landscape for the world to change. And this happens through the transformation of perception, staying diligent and disciplined when it's tempting to go back to old ways of being that have kept us small. Just like fermentation and in death, we have to let something rot or die for something else to be reborn. Set boundaries that support your freedom and reclaim your power. Seek community of like-minded folks that support changes to these worn-out coping mechanisms that you once identified with to ease your inner pain. There's a light at the end of the tunnel of addiction, and once you address Candida and the nervous system malfunctioning due to past trauma and start to choose better, you really start to uncover and get real about your healing. So in a polarized culture that wants to see everything black and white to divide and separate us, let us strive to be the people who see the many shades of gray instead of looking for reasons to exclude others because of their prerogatives in managing their own personal experience just because it's different than our own. This is called oneness consciousness, and it trumps scarcity mentality. One thing's for sure, sugar's the devil, good bacteria cures, and personal boundaries support our overflowing capacity to love ourselves and love others. Live clean, drink dirty.